Hey guys, who's got it better than us? All right, I'm gonna play a quick Jim Harbaugh intro here, and then I'm gonna jump in because it's Friday, and Friday is my go out for dinner day, and I think it's gonna be tied tonight. So let me play this intro, and I will see you guys on the other side, and we'll talk about who's got it better than us. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like this stream or the playback. If you're watching it on the playback, please share it and please subscribe to my channel. As you can see, I'm in a good mood today. It's Friday. I was just watching the extended Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. It's the end of the week. By the way, I saw that for the first time in Ann Arbor when I was a graduate student, the Lord of the Rings. It's Friday. It's a 3-day weekend for me. I'm going out for some Thai food earlier. I'm going out for some Thai food later when I get done here. And Jimbo's coming back to Ann Arbor. First of all, Jay Bones, thank you for being here. Herbert Lewis, yes, you did call it. I was thinking he was going to go. I'm going to talk about that before I read this article. And Jay Bones, thank you for the super sticker. Anyone, if you want to super chat anything, the super chat is live. If you want to throw something in the tip jar, my Cash App and PayPal are here. That's there. Donations are always welcome. But yeah. The week, the last 2 weeks, none of us knew what was going on. I was feeling like Jimbo was going to leave, and there was a bit of a dark cloud over everything. And then when I was doing my Tom Brady stream on Wednesday, Abdul Gaines broke it during the stream. He said Harbaugh's coming back, and I was like, "What? He's coming back after all this? After all of the predictions? After all that he's going to the Raiders, he's going to Miami, he's going to Minnesota, he's on a jet flying to Minnesota. All this just for him to come back." Jim truly marches to the beat of his own drummer, and he makes it interesting. I was concerned. I was feeling a number of things about him leaving. First of all, the way the season ended with us getting into the playoff and getting handily beat by Georgia. And after him saying it's the beginning of a new era, you're thinking, okay, we're going to build on something. This is going to get this. We're going to build off this year. We're finally back. We can contest Ohio State every year for the Big Ten title, for the Big Ten East. So we're just going to build from here. Of course, he has to choose who the quarterback is going to be. But that's what I was thinking. So when the conversations started bubbling up about him going back to the NFL, it was like, oh my God, what? Why? Why are you going to go to the NFL? You just win the Big Ten. You just beat Ohio State for the first time since you've been here. Why? And I was thinking in terms of, well, for one thing, the relevance of the program. Let me adjust this for a second. See, I'm wearing my Michigan Undecided shirt because Jimbo was undecided, but I was thinking in terms of relevance. This our program is the type of program where it's better if you have a big name coach who played at the school, who played quarterback, who played in the NFL. It's just better for our program to have a figurehead. It's better for our program to have um, a coach who has some sort of animosity against the Ohio State coach, Ryan Day. So we have that now. And just the culture. If this coach leaves, you got to bring in a new coach, and you basically have to reset the culture. And then the question is, the kids who we thought were coming back, are they going to come back? And then the recruits that are in the pipeline, are they still going to come? So for me, I know a lot of people are feeling sour right now about what happened, but for me, Jim leaving was just a lose all across the board. I know this doesn't look good with him going and fishing for a new job, but for me, this is a win. Him staying. My graduate advisor when I was a graduate student at Michigan did the exact same thing. I know that's much lower scale. Nobody really cares what happens in the Department of Pharmacology, but professionals at the top of their game, they're always looking around to see where their career should go. And they're always looking around for the most money. They're always looking around for where to grow their career. So it makes sense, but I just thought that as a fan and an alumnus, I thought it'd be better for everybody if he stayed and he decided to come back, whether or not that was due to his own choice, because it sounded like he did want to go. It sounded like he did have unfinished business in the NFL. But I think for all of us, it's better. And for Ohio State, and for Michigan State, and for the conference, it's better that he stays. It's better that he stays. I want to say what's up to Alonzo, the All-Star Advisor. Thank you for stopping through. So, guys, I've been doing my own marketing for my book project and my newsletter. I'm not going to do that today. If you're new here, I'm working on a book, a sports-related book. I'm starting a newsletter. That's in the description box below in case you want to take a look. But I think today, since I want to go out for dinner afterwards, I'm just going to jump right in. I had 2 short articles that I was going to read. But when I was sprawled out on the couch watching The Lord of the Rings, I was going through Twitter, and I saw an article by none other than Mitch Albom. So who better to report on the Michigan football program than Mitch Albom? So I'm going to read this article. I might squeeze out a second, but after this, I'll wrap it up because it's Friday evening, and I want to go out for Thai food. So without further ado, I'm going to pull this article up from Mitch Albom. And I think he wrote a very nice account of what happened with Jim and the program. Oh, Black Uru Strikes is here. Black Uru says Harbaugh probably didn't feel good either when you cut his pay in half last year. I think that was a bad move of Michigan. And if I am Harbaugh, I'm leaving for another gig ASAP. Yeah, you know what, Black Uru, that's a good point. I don't think last year went well. I don't think anyone felt good about last year. But certainly with what happened the previous 5 years, him not beating Ohio State, us not winning the Big Ten East, us not going to the Big Ten championship game, I think there was pressure to get him to turn it around somehow. So I get it if he felt kind of angry about that secretly. And also, I think there's a lot of pressure being the Michigan coach. If you go back to Lloyd Carr's retirement press conference in 2006 or 2007, Apparently, when you're the Michigan football coach and things aren't going well, even around town, your family gets it. You're in this little fishbowl. It's a national fan base. People want to win. People want to beat Ohio State. And if the team isn't winning, you have a bullseye on your back, literally. So, and there are a lot of calls for him to be fired right now for what just happened. A lot of people, a lot of onlookers from outside the program are saying he should be fired. I didn't watch Steve Dace's video, but I think Steve Dace's video was titled "Fire Harbaugh." But like I said, my opinion is we need a face of the program. We need a big time coach. He's the face of the program right now. It's better for us. It's better for Ohio State. It's better for the conference if Jim Harbaugh is our football coach. Trevor Cole says Harbaugh had a hard time getting Michigan back on top now. He's made more work for himself going forward of how things played out. Took 7 years to get here and 30 days to set it back. We have 2 Ohio State fans here. Also, 2 Laker fans. How you guys feeling after last night after the Clippers snatched victory from your jaws? Laker fan, you still hungover from last night? Abdul Gay says Harbaugh is not fully invested in the Wolverines. The fact that he interviewed for an NFL job the same day as National Signing Day is proof that he needs to be fired. Okay, let me read this article, guys. I don't want this stream to go too long, but I needed to weigh in on this. Ohio State fan, it's good that he's back. It's good for you guys too. Admit it. All right. Mitch Albom is probably the other official historian of Michigan sports alongside John U. Bacon. So this is entitled Mitch Albom. Jim Harbaugh opens up, insists he's a Wolverine for good, wants to win it all. Well, certainly he can win the Big Ten again, but getting into the playoff and onto the national stage, that's a whole different order there. So this reads as follows. And this was just published, I think last night, and it was updated this morning. On the first night of the rest of his life, Jim Harbaugh got snowed in. So he kicked back in a Minnesota hotel room, ate a hamburger and French fries from room service, and made phone calls to the important people in his life, telling them his decision was made. He was a Michigan man for the foreseeable future. Hey, everybody, keep in mind, Herbert Lewis, he called it. If you're new coming in, please hit the like. Please definitely hit the like. Those are free. The Super Chat is live. If you want to make a donation of some sort by Cash App or PayPal, that's there. Okay. In a nutshell, I love Michigan, he explained in a phone call to me Thursday evening. I love every player. I love every family. Then why, he was asked, had he flown to Minneapolis to interview for the head coaching job with the Vikings? There was a tugging at me that I was once that close to a Super Bowl and I didn't get it. Some NFL jobs came open. I was contacted by the Minnesota Vikings. For better or worse, it was something I wanted to explore. I went in thinking I'm going to have 100% conviction on this. If they, Minnesota, have 100% conviction on this, then it's something I'm going to do. But like a job interview, somewhere in the process, he got a sinking feeling. It was all good. A first-class operation, he said. First-class people, but there wasn't an equal match of enthusiasm. And for a man whose catchphrase is an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, well, that stuff matters. So the story is he flew in thinking that he had it sewed up, but I think Minnesota was they wanted to bring in multiple candidates. Perhaps he expected too much, given his previous NFL success, 49, 22-1, including the playoffs, a Super Bowl appearance with the 49ers, and the fact that the new general manager, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, was a friend. Perhaps he thought this was to be more a coronation than an interview. But it wasn't. And while Harbaugh, out of respect, didn't want to reveal details, sources say no job was offered. By the time Harbaugh saw the snow falling, realized he wasn't flying home, and returned to his hotel room, his fluid and freewheeling mind was already revved up about the Wolverines this coming season and their chances to go even farther than they did in 2021. I'm scrolling gently here. This free press website sometimes freezes. I called Ward Manuel, the Michigan athletic director, and I asked him if he wanted me to be the head coach, and he said yes, 100%. And I said, okay, then that's what I want to do. And I told him, Ward, this will not be a recurring theme every year. This was a one-time thing. We all want to go to the NFL too. Now, you can read that and roll your eyes. No doubt some of you are. Harbaugh is aware that not everyone was thrilled with his 7-year itch. He knows the program was patient over the past month, although he insists there were no other interviews besides the Vikings. He knows his trip to Minnesota caused some concern and that some folks will question his loyalty now, question his timing, question his appreciation for a program that gave him ample time to win his first game against Ohio State, his first Big Ten title, and his first trip to the college football playoff, all of which happened last season. He apparently saw some of the social media comments because he laughed when I asked him and said, the internet can be enlightening. The internet can be an enlightening place. You have to take it with a grain of salt. But Harbaugh, not without justification, points to the honesty that transpired throughout the process. He never snuck around. He told players, administration, and recruits that he wasn't listening to the NFL rumblings. He told his boss. Everybody knew he was transparent. And when he realized he wanted to stay put, he gave thought to the awkwardness of that. But then he thought about some discussions he'd had with his players and how they didn't blame him for wanting to look over the mountain. They said, Coach, we all want to go to the NFL too. And whenever one of us wants to explore going to the NFL, you support us and wish us well. And if we look at it and we come back, you're thrilled and we get right back to work, which is what Harbaugh wanted to talk about now. In 24 hours, he had already put the NFL return aside and sounded like the same old, motorized, big-eyed dreamer. Sure, the Super Bowl is the greatest prize in our sport, he said, but winning a national championship, that's pretty darn great. Let's do that. There was the pull to the NFL because I got that close to the Super Bowl, he admitted, but this was the time to try and return, and this is the last time. Now let's go chase college football's greatest prize. What would Bo do? Dizzy? Well, If a player ever accidentally ran into Bo Schembechler and knocked him over, everything would stop. Bo would get back up, and with all eyes upon him, he would bark out, "That would have killed a mortal man." There's an element of that when you listen to Harbaugh. He can snap back from pretty much anything to preset knobs of enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I'm sorry, to preset knobs of enthusiasm unknown to mankind. One day after giving up on his NFL dreams, he can gush about a national championship, about the team he has coming in. It's not a show. That's who he is. That's who he has always been. And speaking of Schembechler, critics who wonder how can Harbaugh walk back onto Michigan's campus now remember that Bo, Harbaugh's coach and mentor, once had a brief flirt with Texas A&M in the middle of his U of M career. Yep, that's in one of the books, I think one of John U. Bacon's books. It spanned several days and many swirling rumors. In the end, Bo decided to walk away from big money and more control in favor of staying at the place he loved. In a news conference, he said this. And this article's almost done, guys. I debated it longer than I thought I would, but I came to the conclusion that there are things that are more important to me. And one of them is Michigan. And with that in mind, I'm staying where I belong right here. People applauded when he said that, and perhaps if Harbaugh came out and said the same thing, people would applaud too. But in his own way, he sort of is. I'm excited about today, about tomorrow. I'm an honest person, he said. There was a large pull there, the NFL, but I didn't feel it was that way for both parties. And that's it. That's my mindset now. So that chapter is closed. Yes. You are 100% dedicated to Michigan. Yes. Actually, I told Ward from here on out, I'm working at the pleasure of the University of Michigan because that's in my heart where I want to be. When I heard Harbaugh might be going to the Vikings, I thought there was more to it than the unscratched Super Bowl itch, even though he lost his once chance to his brother John, coach of the Baltimore Ravens, and that's a pretty heavy itch. But I felt that perhaps Harbaugh had concluded after 7 years in Ann Arbor that you can't win it all at Michigan. You can't defeat the changes in college football that the NIL money and the explosion of the transfer portal have wrought. Those things make it impossible to win a national title at a place like Michigan because the program won't match the millions being thrown at players elsewhere, and it won't exploit transfers on the transfer portal merry-go-round. You know, when I think transfer portal, I think one name. I think Abdul Gaines. We really, we really believe we can win a national championship. He said, "I'm excited about today, about tomorrow, about the next day." And so he is back, even if he never really went anywhere. In the end, Jim Harbaugh took what the Aussies call a walkabout, a long solo journey with his feet and his mind, exploring a dream, seeing how it fit, only to ultimately walk all the way back to where he began. Talking with loved ones, this time in a hotel room with a burger and fries, gushing about the future of his beloved alma mater and leaving many of us scratching our heads. Say what you will about Jim Harbaugh, he keeps you on your toes. I think that's the end. Yep. So that was written by Mitch Albom. I was going to read 2 other articles, but I think that's it. I'm going to take a look at your comments, and then I'll probably wrap this stream up. If there are a lot of folks there and someone's feeling brave enough to come up, then I'll drop the link. But let's see who all is still here. All right. I'm going to read some of your comments. The comments that are left. Yeah, Black Uru, I agree with you. This piece, give me a second here. Okay. On the YouTube side, it's playing an ad. I just like to be able to see what's happening in StreamYard and in YouTube. Yeah, Black Uru, I agree with you. That's Mitch Albom put that in a nice bow. He put that in a nice package for Jim. He spun that really well to make the readers feel good about Jim staying and about what happened. But there are a lot of upset and angry fans right now. There are a lot of folks outside the fan base. Like Abdul Gaines and his brother Raheem, who are from the outside shouting, "Fire Harbaugh! He deserves to be fired for this stunt." So I think Mitch definitely helped Jim clean this up a little bit. I was going to read another one. Let's see, but it's 6:10. And I think that pretty much summed it up. Everybody's talking about this. Steve Dace did a show on it, which I have to watch. Johnny Olden gave some reaction last night. Braylon Edwards on his show gave reaction to it. But yeah, that's what I think. I think that I'm glad he's staying. I was scared that he was leaving, and I was afraid for the program if he left. I mean, he's the head coach. He's the face of the program. He set the culture. He has to find a new defensive coordinator now, and he has to figure out who's going to be the starter next year. But I think our program is better off if he's committed. Our program is better off with his being here. That's just my opinion. So, and it's better for Ohio State, for the rivalry, and for the conference. Yakov says Harbaugh was the equivalent of a married man swiping away on Tinder. But no, women swipe back. Yeah, now I've heard it said that in terms of the culture now, personality-wise, his approach to the game, he might not be well suited for the NFL anymore. So some of the talking heads have said that. Black Uru says if the race issue was running rampant in the NFL coaching sector, he might have gotten a lower level gig. I think what you meant to say, if the race issue wasn't running rampant in the NFL coaching sector, he might have. Yeah. So now the NFL, and I'm doing a live stream tomorrow on this whole Brian Flores thing, but the NFL is probably playing damage control right now. And if they hired Jim, if they brought Jim back, I mean, I hate to say it, by virtue of his race right now, then that would have been another strike against them in terms of what's happening in the NFL right now with the Brian Flores case. I'm doing a live stream on that tomorrow morning. If you're not doing anything, please stop through. Bruce McGraw, thank you for stopping through. He says, I'm sure Harbaugh was transparent with his staff. If there is any effect as far as negative recruiting, you can attribute that to social media. Guys, I'm going to read one more article. This is short, but this one discusses why the Vikings didn't take him, or it speculates on why the Vikings didn't take him. So give me a second. I'll boot this up, and then I'm going to stop the stream so I can go out for dinner. Let's see. Yeah, this one's entitled Why the Vikings Didn't Hire Harbaugh. So I'm going to stop this Free Press article. The Free Press is a classic site, but it tends to run slow and it sometimes tends to freeze. Okay. So I'm going to read this one. Yakov says, not sure that matters. Vikings hired a white coach. It just wasn't Harbaugh. Okay. But I do suspect the NFL is in a bit of a pickle now with this Brian Flores thing. Okay. This one is entitled, Why the Minnesota Vikings Did Not Hire Harbaugh. I'm sure you guys recognize the thumbnail there. That's where I borrowed it from. Yakov says, so Black Uru says, not saying he would have gotten the Vikings gig, but it would have been easier for him to get another NFL gig. Yakov asks, what's on the menu tonight? I'm going to a Thai restaurant to get some Thai curry. They make a nice Thai curry noodle with chicken. And I think I might get some dumplings with that. Unfortunately, this Thai restaurant doesn't make egg drop soup. Egg drop soup is my favorite Asian soup. But Yakov, that's what I'm getting. Yakov, what are you getting for dinner tonight? Okay, guys, this article is short. I'm going to read this one and I'll probably wrap it up afterwards. It's entitled, Why the Minnesota Vikings Did Not Hire Jim Harbaugh. Okay. And you know what, guys? It's funny. You know what, Harbaugh, it seems like things not working out with the NFL always works out to our favor. So his souring situation in San Francisco, the dismantling of that San Francisco Super Bowl roster, his inability to get along with Jed York and Trent Baalke in San Francisco, that led to him coming here to Ann Arbor. And then his lack of luck finding another NFL gig, that kind of led to his coming back to Ann Arbor. So, you know, when things don't work out for him in the NFL, that seems to be good for us. Anyway, on Monday, there were reports that Jim Harbaugh's time at Michigan football appeared to have come to a close. That, though, prevailed through Tuesday with his Wednesday interview with the Minnesota Vikings appearing to be all but a formality. Yeah, guys, I think someone asked me, when are you going to do a Harbaugh stream? And I said, I want to see the press conference first. Once I see the press conference and see him, you know, give his speech, then I'll do a stream on it. But I was waiting for that press conference. I was waiting for that unfortunate news. Yakov says, tofu, stir-fried, sweet potato, salad, and hummus. Oh, very nice. By the way, since we're talking about food, I am looking to make some dietary adjustments. I have a bit of a snoring thing going on, and I'll just leave it there. But I'm looking to make some dietary adjustments. All right. However, while that's what Harbaugh thought, that's not how the Vikings looked at it. According to reports, Harbaugh firmly believed that his Michigan tenure was over and that he would be coaching in the NFL in 2022. He traveled to Minneapolis with the firm belief that he would be the Vikings' next head coach, but the Vikings weren't abandoning their process, despite Harbaugh's success in both the NFL and at the college level. The Athletic paints the story, noting that on Wednesday, Harbaugh was indeed on track to become the next Minnesota head coach, but somewhere down the line, things took a drastic turn. At first, the interview seemed like it was going well. Harbaugh saw the Vikings' gleaming new practice facility, and the team started to see some of the coach's redeeming qualities. A buzz reverberated through the building. Is this really happening? Are we really going to hire Jim Harbaugh? Harbaugh started to feel it too. He left Ann Arbor believing he was not coming back. And as the process got rolling, it started to look like he would be in Minnesota to stay. But the Vikings had some hard questions to ask. They wanted to know more about his style and ability to work with others. They wanted to know more about how things ended with the 49ers. They wanted to hear his vision for leading this team back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 1977. Wow, that's a serious drought. But the Bills are in a serious drought too. My hometown Buffalo Bills. Sometimes around 3 p.m., for reasons that are not exactly clear, things started to take a left turn. The tenor started to change. And if there was any momentum at Harbaugh's back as he tried to secure the job, it disappeared. Shortly before 6:30 Central Time, ESPN first reported that Harbaugh called Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel to tell him he was coming back to the Wolverines for the 2022 season and beyond. The reason had nothing to do with money or a contract because the Vikings did not offer Harbaugh the job, sources said. There do not appear to be any hard feelings on either side, just a realization that this was not the right fit. The picture doesn't look good for Harbaugh, and while it doesn't look good for Michigan either, having his head coach interviewing for a job on National Signing Day, his return to the program is still the best option for the Wolverines at this juncture. I agree wholeheartedly. Certainly, fences will have to be mended with the staff, which was mostly left in the dark, the players and recruits. But after a few wins to start the 2022 season, it should be left in the rear view. According to Adam Schefter, Harbaugh told athletic director Ward Manuel that his NFL dalliance has come to a close. And Michigan will likely seek assurances to ensure that's the case. Because while this ended up working out in the Maize and Blues' favor, ultimately, it's a situation that cannot and should not be repeated in case the head coach gets another NFL itch he would like to scratch. Okay, that's the second article. Well, that was one of the two articles I was going to read before I found the Mitch Albom article on Twitter. But yeah, he thought he had it in the bag, and the Vikings, I guess something was said during the interview. During interviews, they asked you, how would you respond to this? How would you, respond to that? And, he, even before coming to Michigan, or should I say, even before coming back to Michigan, even as San Francisco went up in flames, there were rumors that he's hard to work with at times. There were rumors that he wears on people. There were rumors that he burns bridges. And all this week, there was talk that his personality is very awkward, or that it can be awkward at times. So I don't know what was said about those questions that Minnesota asked him, but something was said that made them say, I guess, nah, this isn't our guy. So at the end of the day, if you're just coming in to hit the like button, at the end of the day, I think it's a win. I think it's a win for us. I think it's a win for I don't know if it's a win for him. He wanted another chance to win the Super Bowl, but I think it's a win for our program, our players. Ohio State, yeah, you guys too, Ohio State in the conference. But definitely for the players, because I think it's better for the players if there's continuity and they were able to get the thing to work this year. And it's bad for players when there's a lack of continuity and when things are changing over over and over and over again. So I think this is good for the players. So I'm going to read some of your comments, and then I'm going to shut this down. Let's see. Bruce McGraw says, I think everyone within Schembecker Hall remained tight-lipped on this. Everything else could be considered speculation. Black Uru's having lamb chops, Brussels sprouts, and brown rice. Yum, yum. I've never made lamb chops. Maybe I'll try that someday soon. His brother said he has been spending much of his time recruiting and looking for a defensive coordinator. Yeah, I think from what I've been hearing, he did a good job multitasking while this whole thing was going on. So he didn't completely abandon his head coaching duties while this was going on. He says there's a lot better teams for consideration other than the Vikings. I'd assumed after he won a Big Ten title, went to the playoffs, and won a national championship, he was gone. That last one is going to be hard because we're going to need the athletes to give an SEC team a good game. J Bone says he's a tough guy. Black Uru says he took the 49ers to three straight NFC championship games. And was a not pass interference play from winning a Super Bowl. Minnesota eff'd up. Well, Black Uru, someone on ESPN said, keep in mind that when he took over the 49ers, he already had players there. He already had Patrick Willis, Frank Gore, Navarro Bowman. He already had players there. So all he had to do was just kind of coach up those players. And when he got to Michigan, he already had players. So he's good when he comes in and he already has players and he just has to coach those players up. But what came into question at Michigan was the development and growing up teams to Big Ten championships and national title contenders. That's the question with him. So, and then I don't know the specifics of what happened in San Francisco. I saw the roster getting dismantled. I saw Patrick Willis get hurt. I think he got hurt and retired. I think Navarro Bowman suffered a severe injury in one of the NFC Championship games against Seattle. Colin Kaepernick didn't progress for whatever reason. So there were a couple of things that happened concurrently with along his 4 years in San Francisco. But the disagreements with the front office, Trent Baalke and Jed York, that was well publicized. Jay Bone says he's never going to change, LOL. He's definitely a hard person to get along with. He's an introvert. Abdul Gaines has called him a caricature. The Vikings will definitely regret it. Yes, they will. Trevor Cole says, how many other college coaches who look for an NFL job make this big of a circus out of the process? Only Harbaugh. Awkward indeed. We have a little bot here passing through. Let's block that bot. Yakov says, loyal and loving husband while looking for a new woman. Bruce says, you should do more live chats. Very interactive. Keep up the good work. Yeah, Bruce, it's a mixture. I appreciate your words of encouragement here. Sometimes the topic warrants doing it live. Sometimes doing a pre-record is better. But yeah, I'll definitely do more of these on Michigan football and other things going forward. We're also deep in the heart of basketball season here. I don't think the basketball team is doing very well right now. But thank you very much. And I hope to see you again. Black Uru Strikes says, Minnesota has a decent team. Harbaugh might provide the temporary spark needed. Also, Rodgers is likely leaving Green Bay. yep, will be the perfect time for the Vikings to capitalize. And they already had a quarterback in place. I think Kirk Cousins. We had Kirk Cousins here in Washington, D.C. Of course, he got drafted alongside RG3. But when Kirk Cousins got the starting job, you could see the potential there. But he threw interceptions at times. And Kirk Cousins just didn't solidify the job in terms of his holding the job here in D.C. So maybe Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that needs that right offensive coordinator and that right coach. But that's certainly a key piece that the Vikings have in place that Jim may have been able to go in and kind of massage and turn into an MVP. Bruce says, Michael Bruce says to win the NFC North. Bruce says, I have us going 12-1 next year, possibly a loss to OSU. You know what, Bruce? That's going to be interesting. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? This is looking a lot like Drew Henson and Tom Brady all over again, in my opinion. I'm not saying Cade McNamara is going to go ahead and have a 20-year pro career and win 7 Super Bowls, but I'm just saying that you have the grizzled veteran versus the phenom. So that's the headlines will probably go back to that now. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? And then, on defense, you lose Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, and we're going to have a new defensive coordinator coming in. So I think predictions towards the end of last year was that we're going to have a high-powered offense next year that's going to have to play above itself at times, as we're going to have a young rebuilding defense. So hopefully, is Jake Moody coming back? Because that will help as well, because Jake Moody was clutch. So, and yes, hopefully we give Mel Tucker an L this season. We should have given him one this past season, but the strip sack, I think the strip sack was huge. The Blake Corum drop in that first quarter when he had nothing but running room ahead of him, that was going to be another 6 points. And then, we allowed that completion, that Peyton Thorne completion on fourth down. That was huge. And then Kenneth Walker just ran wild. I don't know if Mike McDonald didn't adjust the defense, or maybe he tried to, but Kenneth Walker had a Heisman Trophy winning day that day. So Jay Bone says, Kirk Cousins was very frustrating. I think you're talking about here with the, at that point, they were the Redskins. Now they're the Washington Commandos. But yeah, I was waiting for Kirk Cousins to take control of the job. Because classically, when the Washington Redskins / football team and now the Commandos, classically, when this franchise has been good, they've had a quarterback, a solid quarterback, whether it was Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, or Mark Rippon. Bruce says he'll have to run the same scheme for simplicity. Yeah, I guess whoever the new coordinator is, until he gets his recruits in, maybe you want to run what the veterans are used to. But Don Brown came right in, shifted Jabril Peppers to a linebacker, and Don Brown came right in and started running as Viper. So who knows? Jay Bones says Kirk Cousins was another version of Jay Cutler. Yeah, Kirk Cousins definitely, if he didn't get super protection, I think he got happy feet back there. And I think too much pressure on Kirk Cousins caused him to throw the ball too early or throw it too high, leading to interceptions. And Black Uru Strikes says, first named footnotes in history, Drew Henson and Drew Bledsoe. Oh, yeah. How about that? Yeah. Tom Brady had to battle Drew Henson for the job, and then he took the job after injury from Drew Bledsoe in New England. All right, guys, it's 6:33. I've been going for 50 minutes. It's Friday night. I think it's I'm not cooking tonight, so it's time to go out and find some food. Bruce says, I know you're short on time, but for your next live chat, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the NIL, name, image, and likeness. Yep. And what the Aggies did to have the highest recruiting class. Yeah, as I was going to the doctor's office to get my lab work done this morning, I was watching ESPN on my phone, and I think the guy's name is Pablo something or other, and L. Duncan, Pablo L. Duncan, and some other guy. They were talking about Jimbo Fisher, and yeah. So Jimbo Fisher obviously I think he had some comments about, I think a lot of money that the Texas A&M program had given recruits to get them to come to Texas A&M. So Jim's going to have to, and Michigan is going to have to decide whether or not and how much they're going to participate in this NIL, because Michigan prides itself on being a clean program and playing by the rules and not getting involved in money related things and not putting itself in position to get entangled in scandals of any kind. So, but the NIL, yeah, definitely we will discuss that and visit that here. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for those of you who watched this live. If you're watching on the playback, please like the playback. Please share if you feel so inclined. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I think my numbers are currently at 1,074. So I need 26 more to get to 1,100. Every subscription counts. If you want to leave something in the tip jar and you watch this on the playback, my Cash App and PayPal are here. Thank you to J Bones for the super chat. That's my Cash App and PayPal right there. And enjoy your Friday and enjoy your weekend. Go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. If you're new, please take a look at my book project below. Since we're wrapping up, I'll just show it really quickly. It's called The Engineers, a Western New York basketball story. I won't keep this up long. There are numerous promotional pieces for the book on my second blog, Big Words Authors. That's it right there. There's also a link for my newsletter, the Big Words LLC Newsletter, in the description box. Please consider signing up for that. And it's a sports story about what athletics teaches you and what athletics taught me about life, success, and failure going forward. It's a narrative story, very much like The Shawshank Redemption or Goodfellas or, The Wonder Years, Casino, that type of thing. So that's in the description box below. And I'm going to leave you with a few seconds of our awkward, introverted, caricature, face of the program head coach, Jim Harbaugh. So I'll leave you guys with that. I'm going to drop down. So go blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care. I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.